A Sydney woman wants police to investigate how her 91-year-old mother ended up signing over a fortune to her bank manager. Maria Watts claims her mum was manipulated and then neglected by those entrusted with her finances and care.
This is how 91-year-old Yolanda Hutton was found in her Northern Beaches home.
And then I heard a faint voice calling out that I'm on the floor, I'm on the floor.
Local Bendigo Bank Manager Frankham and another woman were her guardians at the time and had locked out Yolanda's family.
It was impossible for us to get into the house because they changed the locks.
They had to rely on the police to access keys.
She wasn't in a very nice state at all.
The heartbeat was racing, so that was sort of bad as well.
Bank Manager Frankham became friends with Mrs Hutton more than 10 years ago, but today she refused to comment on how she and a friend came to be written into the elderly woman's will.
Excuse me, would you mind not filming inside the banking chambers?
The Bendigo Bank claims the appointment of Ms Frankham as the executor of Mrs Hutton's will occurred prior to Ms Frankham's employment with the bank.
We've since found out that that's totally untrue. Totally untrue.
The only relative left in Yolanda's current will, a niece. She stands to inherit $20,000 from an estate worth almost $1.5 million.
A lot of elder abuse happening in our community is driven by finance and driven by, the availability of money.
The family is asking police to investigate. Adam Waters, 7 News.
This is 7 News with Chris Barth.
Good evening. A Sydney bank manager is being investigated by police over claims she made large cash withdrawals from the account of an elderly customer who suffers from dementia. The wealthy woman's family says the manager has also become a beneficiary of her will. Bendigo Bank insists their employee has behaved properly while privately threatening her with the sack.
This is Frankham inside the branch she manages in Dee Why. The family of 91-year-old Yolanda Hutton wants Ms Frankham to explain large cash withdrawals from the pensioner's account.
I could not believe it. I was just stunned.
Yolanda Hutton's family recently found a recording of Frankham's 2007 interview with a bank investigator, given to 7 News and police.
On average, that'd probably be $1,000 a week coming out of that account.
Yep.
Would you be able to justify every cent that's come out of that account?
The bank's investigator says this note, signed by Mrs Hutton, who has dementia, does not give Frankham the right to access her account.
How does the bank know she's received any money? This doesn't mean anything. Well, it doesn't comply with policy at all. You know the policy.
Frankham insists she was simply helping an old friend of 15 years.
Yolanda's fine. You could go and talk to her.
I've spoken to the hospital, and they say that she has got advanced dementia. She takes to some. Well, are you a doctor?
No.
Well, how can you make that assessment?
She's then grilled over arranging a huge inheritance from Mrs Hutton's estate without the family's knowledge.
I just find it very strange that you've never made an attempt to contact the family when you've done all these things behind their back. Are you an executor of Yolanda's will?
I am.
Did you notify the bank of that?
No, I didn't.
The Watts family fears that despite the bank's inquiry and the new police investigation, that Frankham still stands to inherit a large chunk of Yolanda Hutton's estate, including this $1 million home high up above Sydney's northern beaches with expansive ocean views.
It's just totally unjust. I mean, the estate should go to the grandchildren.
When approached by 7 News, Frankham refused to be interviewed, but the bank publicly stands by her, saying her professional conduct has been appropriate and the bank will take no action. A far cry from their investigators' response.
I'm not happy with you transacting on Yolanda Hutton's account. Would you feel comfortable if that was on the front page of the paper?
I haven't done anything wrong.
This letter from the bank's state manager warns Frankham any further breach of bank policy will result in the immediate termination of your employment. Christine, we just want to know why you were threatened with the sack if you'd done nothing wrong.
If she had nothing to hide, why wouldn't she front up and answer a question or two?
Adam Waters, 7 News.
Hundreds of
News.
A second Sydney family has come forward to 7 News demanding a Northern Beaches bank manager explain her cosy relationship with their elderly relative. As in the first case, the manager became a beneficiary of the woman's estate, saying she was regarded as an adopted daughter.
Bendigo Bank Manager Frankham has already been quizzed about her relationship with 91-year-old dementia patient Yolanda Hutton. An investigator wanted her to explain large cash withdrawals from the pensioner's account. But there was more.
When you were with Commonwealth, were there any issues as far as, did you receive a formal warning or anything like that?
You're talking about Joan Douglas?
Joan Douglas was another elderly customer of Frankham's when she worked at the Commonwealth Bank. Like Yolanda Hutton, Mrs Douglas included Frankham in her will.
Who's Joan Douglas?
Joan Douglas was another old lady I was looking after. There was a cousin who accused me of trying to do the wrong thing by her as well.
In fact, it was the war widow's nephew, Frank Henry, approached by Frankham asking for thousands of dollars after Mrs Douglas died in 2004.
It was 8:45 at night. I opened the door and the bank manager's there.
He claims Frankham was upset, cut out of Mrs Douglas's will for delaying the repayment of a $10,000 loan from the pensioner. After Mrs Douglas died, Frankham's demands continued.
She's going to challenge the will and cause me a lot of grief. I told her then that she was trespassing and to leave the premises and shut the door in her face.
Frankham was far from finished, trying a gentler approach next time with this 4-page letter saying she was owed $40,000 and claiming Joan regarded her as an adopted daughter. Frankham remains under police investigation. Adam Walters, 7 News.